Good morning, everyone. So, it's a great lazy Sunday yesterday. My oldest granddaughter hung around till about 2. Then she went home. And then I had just didn't really do anything much. Took care of the ears of our poor dog here. Seems like almost born with some kind of a weird thing in her ears. And she's been to the vet so many times to get that checked out. And nobody knows how to deal with it. It's like, what? My son's dog. So anyway, so I cleaned out her ears real good and decided, the way I cleaned it out, I used some peroxide, hoping that if there is a bacteria there, but supposedly it's allergies. I'm going, she's getting allergy medicine. It's still, every day there's this stuff coming out, and it stinks. Okay. So I used some peroxide in her ears, and trying to be very consistent right now with it all, right? But peroxide kind of irritates the ears, right? Her ears are already irritated. So I used some Desitin, kind of a diaper rash and stuff. So I thought I'd put that in there and rub it around real good. And she slept all night really good. Yeah, okay. But the doctors can't figure out how to heal this up. My daughter and my son-in-law here, they have spent, I don't know how many hundreds of dollars already trying to clear this up with no success. And the food that she eats, you don't even want to know how much a bag of that costs. Then she's on some other thing. Then she's on the allergy medicine. Nothing is working. And so I don't know. We'll see. Poor thing. So I did that. That takes a little while. She doesn't like it, but she lets you do it. It's almost she knows. Oh, is that going to help me? Yeah. Anyway, so she shakes her head quite a bit, and then she uses her paw to dig in her ear, which is not good either. Well, anyway, my son, same thing. He has Hank, or three-legged friend. He had all his life, probably I'm not even going to go where he got that dog from to begin with. And all his life had the skin condition. It's just same thing again. Just no vet can fix it. Until we got here, and my other daughter had found a really good vet, which this one goes to too, by the way, but they can't figure this one out. And finally, and now he's old. He's 10 years old now, Hank is. Or more. And finally found something that regulates whatever is going on in his system. And he's, for the first time last year, he started to grow a full coat. I mean, we're talking, whoa, did he make up for all the years that he had this thin coat with these patches and I don't know what, right? And his tail, his poor little nude tail, right? Everything's got hair now, so much that you have to brush him now. Anyway, so I'm hoping that I can figure something out. I don't know, but again, all the science we have now today, I can't figure out what's wrong with that dog's ears. I can't. Well, anywho. Then I had a great conversation with my sister-in-law, who's at the farm. Yeah, still working on that cough a little. Got to get back to my regular cough still. And Yeah, I had a wonderful time. I think we talked for about 2 hours just about this and that and everything, and talked about our grandchildren. And one thing, I'm so grateful that she's there because she knows what needs to be taken care of. After all these years she's been with me on the farm, she knows how things work. She knows what works, right? And again, we talked about, well, we compromise in some areas, but other areas you have to just put your foot down. Done, right? Yes? And I'm so grateful that she's there. And we both talked, about our grandchildren and on how her being where she is at now, here in Kentucky on our farm, right? She's much closer now because they live just 20 minutes away. Okay, 30 minutes. On how she can be much closer to her grandchildren and how to come to the farm, help her out. And she loves it. She says, that's the best thing that I've ever done, is to move closer to my daughter, right, and my son-in-law, and be able to be such a big part of these children's lives. Yes? Yeah. And of course, just like I do, helping out our children with our grandchildren, that's so valuable. Right? Yes? Well, anyway, I had a good talk. It's great. Then I fell asleep and slept for 7 hours straight through. That's so rare now that happens, but it did. It was great. Must be doing something right. And I feel great today. All right. If I remember, I wanted to actually start out with something different. Now I'm thinking this is getting too long. Again. If I remember it at the end, I'll talk about it. It has to do with my martial arts training that I did. If I remember it, I'll talk about it. If not, then there's no need for it. Okay, we are in the first book of Maccabees, 5, the expedition against the Idumeans and Ammonites. Get ready for something. I couldn't help myself yesterday, and I read through it a little bit, and I thought, goodness, what am I going to say to any of this? There really isn't anything to say. Much. It was as it was. Was it as it was? I had no idea. Don't know. Wasn't there. I'll just read it. When the surrounding nations heard that the altar had been rebuilt and the sanctuary restored to what it had been before, they became very angry and decided to destroy the descendants of Jacob living among them. They began to murder and evict our people. Judas made war on the sons of Esau in Idumea, in the region of Akrabatene, where they were besieging the Israelites. The sons of Esau weren't the Israelites too? Wow. He dealt them a serious blow, drove them off, and despoiled them. He also remembered the wickedness of the sons of Baalan, who were a menace and a trap for the people with their ambushes on the roads. First time I hear about them. Having blockaded them in their town and besieged them, he put them under the curse of destruction. He then set fire to their towers and burned them down with everyone inside. I'm having a hot flash right now. You guys don't even... Woo! I think I could heat a room if it could be used for that. Oh, yeah. Just go with it. It's just heat. Next, he then set fire to their towers and burnt them down with everyone inside. Just the guys, women and children too? We don't know, it doesn't say. Next, he crossed over the Ammonites, where he found a strong fighting force and a numerous people, commanded by Timotheus. He fought many battles with them, defeated them, and cut them to pieces. Oh. Having captured Jazer and its dependent villages, he retired to Judea. Okay. I wonder what that means, captured all these villages. And then what? Then he left? Did he leave people behind to... Oh, he killed all of them. Okay. Preliminaries to campaigns in Galilee and Gilead. Next, the Gentiles of Gilead banded together to destroy the Israelites living in their territory. The latter, however, took refuge in the fortress of Tathema and sent the following letter to Judas and his brothers. The Gentiles round us have banded themselves together against us to destroy us, and they are preparing to storm the fortress in which we have taken refuge. Timotheus is in command of their forces. Come at once and rescue us from their clutches, for we have already suffered great losses. All our countrymen living in Tobias' country have been killed. Their women and children have been taken into captivity. Their property has been seized, and about 1,000 men have been destroyed there. My goodness. Sounds like one rampage after another on either side. While the letter was being read, other messengers arrived from Galilee with their garments torn, bearing similar news. The people of Ptolemais, Tyre, and Sidon have joined forces with the whole of Gentile Galilee to destroy us. Well, when Judas and the people heard this, they held a great assembly to decide what should be done for their oppressed countrymen, who were under attack from their enemies. Now, something comes to my mind that we read up here, right? Where when the surrounding nations heard that the altar had been rebuilt, they did what? They became very angry. Why? Convenient, again, to pull God into it, and then go ahead and do what? Seems to me that if I'm not quite getting on what this fighting is all about. Yes? And it sounds to me like Judas now, he loves to kill. He's turned into someone, probably already under his father's guidance, influence. Loves to. He's needed everywhere, known for his kindness and knowing how to somehow bring peace or whatever. No, he knows one thing and one thing only. And he's doing it in an awful way as well. Just saying. One can hear that through all of this. Anyway. Also, there's another thing. Judas, I thought, here is your brother Simeon. I know he's a man of sound judgment. Listen to him all your lives. Let him take your father's place. And Judas was to become what? Judas is one that is strong and brave from his youth. Let him be your general and conduct the war against the Gentiles. All we're hearing here is about Judas. Where is Simeon? He's supposed to be the one taking his father's place. Yet it sounds like Judas is the one that makes all the decisions and just does whatever. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm just saying. Judas said to his brother Simon, I'm assuming that's Simeon, pick your men and go and relieve your countrymen in Galilee while my brother Jonathan and I make our way into Gilead. Sounds like to me, instead of Judas listening to the sound judgment of Simeon, he's the one who's making all the judgments. And Simeon is not under his, right? Okay, what happened? What happened there? It's a little odd, isn't it? Okay. He left Joseph, son of Zechariah, and the people's leader, Azariah, with the remainder of the army in Judea to keep guard, and gave them these orders. You are to be responsible for our people. Do not engage the Gentiles until we return. Simon was allotted 3,000 men for the expedition into Galilee, Judas 8,000 for Gilead. Wow, that sounds a bit uneven, I guess, if you think about it. So, well, something else comes to mind. But again, maybe Simon wasn't going to face as many of the opposition army group of whatever than Judas would in Galilee. I don't know. No, for Gilead. Simon was going to Galilee. Okay. The expeditions in Galilee and Gilead. Simon advanced into Galilee, engaged the Gentiles in several battles, and swept all before him. He pursued them to the gate of Ptolemais, and they lost about 3,000 men, whose spoils he collected. He pursued them. When you're on the run, how much do you have with you? With him he took away the Jews of Galilee and Arbatha with their wives and children, and all their possessions, and brought them into Judea with great rejoicing. Okay. Meanwhile, Judas Maccabees and his brother Jonathan crossed the Jordan and made a 3 days march through the desert. Where they encountered the Nabateans. I never heard of them. Who gave them a friendly reception and told them everything that had been happening to their brothers in Gilead, many of whom they said were shut up in Bozrah and Bozor, Alema, Chaspo, Makket, and Karnaim, all large fortified towns. Others were blockaded in the other towns of Gilead. There's a lot more here. And the enemy planned to attack and capture these strongholds the very next day, and to destroy all the people inside them on one day. Judas and his army at once turned off by the desert road to Bozrah. He took the town, and having put all the males to the sword and collected the booty, burned it down. Oh, wait a minute. Well, that sounds weird. Many of whom they said were shut up to their brothers in Gilead. Many of whom, their brothers, are shut up in these towns. And the enemy planned to attack and capture these strongholds. So Judas goes, he took the town, and having put all the males to the sword and collected the booty, burned it down. Wait a minute. What did it just say over here? I thought they were their brothers from... Am I reading this wrong? And here Judas goes and what? He kills his own people and burns down the town? That's what it sounds like. Maybe I'm getting this wrong, but I read it twice now. Maybe I need to read it again. The Nabatean, who gave them a friendly reception, told them everything that had been happening to their brothers in Gilead, many of whom, I'm assuming the brothers of Gilead, they said were shut up in Bozrah and Bozor and all these other, all large fortified towns. Others were blockaded in the other towns of Gilead, and the enemy planned to attack and capture these strongholds, so they're not in there. It's their own people in there. the very next day and destroy all the people inside them on one day. Then Judas goes, and his army at once turned off, went to Bozrah. He took the town, having put all the males to the sword and collected the booty, burned it down. What did he do different than the enemy planned? Huh? Just saying. Anybody else hearing this? Or are we not getting everything here now again? Are we only... But that doesn't sound right, does it? Okay. Judas and his army at once... Whoop, never read all that. 3 times now. When night came, he left the place, and they continued their march until they reached the fortress. In the light of dawn they looked, and there was an innumerable horde setting up ladders and engines to capture the fortress. The assault was just beginning. When Judas saw that the attack had begun, and that the war cry was rising to heaven from the city, mingled with trumpet calls and a great clamor, he said to the men of his army, "Into battle today for your brothers." Dividing them into 3 commands, he advanced on the enemy's rear with trumpets sounding and prayers shouted aloud. I don't know how you do that at the same time, but okay. The troops of Timotheus, recognizing that this was Maccabees, fled before his advance. Maccabees dealt them a crushing defeat. Now it's not Judas Maccabees, it's not just Judas. That would be his first name, that would be his Israelite name. Now it's Maccabees. Interesting. About 8,000 of their men fell that day. Then wheeling on Alima, he attacked and captured it, and having killed all the males and collected the booty, burnt the place down. What did he do with the women and children? Were there any? Just burnt them down at the town? I don't know. Kind of sounds like that. From there, he moved on and took Chaspho, Maked, Bozor, and the remaining towns of Gilead. After these events, Timotheus mustered another force and pitched camp opposite Raphon on the far side of the stream bed. Seriously? I think by now it'd be time to pack up and go home. What, he's mustering another force? How quickly is this all happening? How many people are there available to just be collateral damage for all this stuff? Amazing. Judas sent men to reconnoiter the camp, and these reported back as follows. With him are massed all the Gentiles surrounding us, making a very numerous army, with Arab mercenaries as auxiliaries. They are encamped on the far side of the stream bed, and ready to launch an attack on you. And all this just because the temple was rebuilt. Seriously? Sounds like just an excuse to me. Judas then advanced to engage them, and was approaching the watercourse with his troops when Timotheus told the commanders of his army, "If he crosses first, we shall not be able to resist him, because he will have a great advantage over us. But if he is afraid and camps on the other side of the stream, we shall cross over to him, and the advantage will then be ours, because of the water." As soon as Judas reached the watercourse, he posted people scribes along it, giving them this order: "Do not let anyone pitch his tent. All are to go into battle." He was himself the first across to the enemy's side, with all the people following. He defeated all the opposing Gentiles, who threw down their arms and ran for refuge in the sanctuary of Karnaim. Okay, now, I'm just saying this from a strategic point of view. So Timotheus says, if he crosses first, we're going to lose. Okay, where are they exactly? So are they still, it sounds like Judas sent someone to the camp to reconnoiter, right? Go and check out what's going on in Timotheus' camp, right? Yes? Well, if the stream is so important to win or lose, why didn't Timotheus just already cross and camp on the other side and just wait for them to get there? No, he's waiting to see if Judas is going to cross. If he doesn't stay on the other side, but camps on his side, where he's also camped, then they're going to lose. But if they're going to be able to cross first, but here is Judas already going to reconnoiter in the camp, which means he's already made camp somewhere and didn't cross the stream. Now, how weird is that? Why is that in here like this? Let's see if Judas is stupid enough not to have the same thing in mind as he does. I'm just saying. This is weird. This is just so weird. It's like somebody had took some acid and then wrote all this down or something, right? How would I know? Well, I've heard people talk on acid, okay? And it's, okay, whoa. You think you're making sense, but you really don't. You think you're having an epiphany, but you really don't. I'm just saying. He defeated all the opposing Gentiles who threw down their arms and ran for refuge in the sanctuary of Karnaim. The Jews first captured the town and then burned down the temple with everyone inside. Oh, so they're burning down temples as well, huh? With people inside. Okay, look, people, you can't choose one side or the other here because they're both doing the same thing to each other. Peace can't be had like that. Done. And God's just in it. All right, you know what? The Jews first captured the town, then burnt down. Okay. And so Karnaim was overthrown, and the enemy could offer no further resistance to Judas. Next, Judas assembled all the Israelites living in Gilead, from the least to the greatest, with their wives, children, and belongings, an enormous muster to take them to Judea. Why? If he conquered everything, why can't they just stay where they are at? Which then would have made the nation of Israel greater, right? More. But he's taken them where? Why? Things weren't over yet, it sounds like. They reached Ephron, a large town straddling the road and strongly fortified. As it was impossible to bypass it either to right or to the left, there was nothing for it but to march straight through. But the people of the town denied them passage and barricaded the gates with stones. I'm sure they've heard what this guy's capable of. Oh, and it sounds like it doesn't matter who they are, Israelites or non-Israelites, right? Yes? So, regardless, they're not going to, man, no, we're going to have to fight. Think of what they were hearing. This isn't like, oh yeah, look on the internet here, see what's happened in Gilead, you know. No, these are, well, all they get is from, what they're getting is from people that may have escaped and ended up there, right? Yes? Judas sent them a conciliatory message in these terms. We want to pass through your territory to reach our own. No one will do you any harm. We only want to go through on foot. Yeah. Why do I have a feeling that that's not true? Why do I have a feeling that Judas never sent that message? Sounds good in here, but I don't think he did. Judas is not that kind of guy. He's not. Simeon might have been at one point, but not Judas. But they would not open up for him. So Judas sent an order down the column for everyone to halt where he stood. The fighting men took up their positions. Judas attacked the town all day and night, and the town fell to him. He put all the males to the sword, razed the town to the ground, plundered it, and marched through the town square over the bodies of the dead. They then crossed the Jordan into the great plain opposite Beth Shean. Judas all the time rallying the stragglers and encouraging the people the whole way until they reached Judea. Sounds like not an easy, that was not an easy trek for the people that were with him, right? Sounds like it. They climbed Mount Zion in joy and gladness and presented burnt offerings because they had returned safe and sound without having lost a single man. Yeah, like I believe that. Oh, yeah. There's more, guys. Reversal at Yamnia. While Judas and Jonathan were in Gilead and Simon, his brother, in Galilee, Outside Ptolemais, Joseph, son of Zechariah, and Azariah, who were in command of the army, heard of their valiant deeds and of the battles they had been fighting, and said, "Let us make a name for ourselves too, and go and fight the nations around us." Oh! Yeah, I don't even have anything else to say to that. Go make a name for yourself, sure. So they issued orders to the men under their command and marched on Yamnia. Gorgias and his men came out of the town and gave battle. Joseph and Azariah were routed and pursued as far as the frontiers of Judea. That day about 2,000 Israelites lost their lives. Our people thus met with a great reverse because they had not listened to Judas and his brothers, thinking that they would do something equally valiant. They were not, however, of the same breed of men as those to whom the deliverance of Israel was entrusted. Huh? You see here, now we know, without having lost a single man. I do not believe that. And then down here, oh yeah, because they didn't listen to Judas, they lost 2,000 people. 2,000 of their own. Huh? Really? Okay. Yeah. That's it. Whoever wrote this down, it's like, something happened there, but we're not getting the truth here. There's no way. And the glory, in a way, that we're supposed to accept here is not the kind of glory that I'm looking for in a person. Just saying. At that time, well, there are many different things still going on in the world today. And I still feel the same way. Well, anyway. They weren't of the same breed of men. I don't know. So what kind of breed of men was Judas and his people? His guys? You tell me. I don't know. I didn't know that there are different breeds of men out there. You know, like dogs. Alright, just saying. Successes in Idumea and Philistia. The noble Judas, and his brothers, however, were held in high honor throughout Israel and among all the nations wherever their name was heard, and people thronged round to acclaim them. Judas marched out with his brothers to fight the Edomites in the country towards the south. He stormed Hebron and its dependent villages, threw down its fortifications, and burnt down its encircling towers. Oh, now he only burnt down the towers? Leaving there, he made for the country of the Philistines and passed through Marizah. Really? Among the fallen in that day's fighting were some priests who sought to prove their courage there by joining in the battle, a foolhardy venture. I thought they didn't lose a man. Okay. Judas next turned on Azotus, which belonged to the Philistines. He overthrew their altars, burnt the statues of their gods, and having pillaged their towns, withdrew to Judea. Yep, see, he didn't have enough. Become that bloodthirsty, you won't quit. That's the end of 5. That was a long chapter. Not much to say to that. Whew. It's coming back to my mind now. I remember uh, the martial arts that I learned, which is called Kuksul 1, Korean martial arts. Loved it. Loved everything about that martial arts. And they also had sparring going on. And there was no difference made between men and women and who you were sparring and with. And there was one rule: you had the helmets, you had to have the helmets on and all that jazz. And there was one rule: you couldn't hit people in the face. Okay. And okay. And my partner at that time was a guy about not quite a hit taller than me, and so here we are, and the first thing it does is, and I'm not a fighter. I mean, physically, come on. I started martial arts because I just loved it. Since I was little, any time there was a martial arts movie or whatever came on, in little Switzerland, with the 3 channels we had, right? I would want to watch. I loved it, how these people flew around in the air and all that kind of jazz. So I always wanted to, right? Yes, to learn martial arts. So I wasn't very good at it. I made it to black brown belt, and then I got pregnant. So, and then from then on, it was kind of okay. The time just wasn't there anymore to really, have the time to practice and all that. I did it for close to 8 years, 7 years for sure. So that's the reason I started it, and I loved it. I loved it, man. I tell you what, whew, that's rough training, if you're serious about it. And so here we're sparring, and one of the first things this guy does is he hits me in the face. Pretty hard, too. And, all right. The rule was don't hit in the face, right? This was just training. This was just practice, right? Yes? Not a real fight or anything. And this guy, too, was a bit, all right, he had a certain job, and he was a bit arrogant about it, and he you could tell there was a certain anger within him because of his job, right? So many things to deal with, and yeah, okay. And he hits me in the face, and I saw red immediately. Oh, because he hit me, because, because he did something he wasn't supposed to do, right? Here, I'm okay. But I'm careful. I make sure. Okay, so he's a head taller, right? Okay, come here, right? Straight, hits me straight in the face. And I thought, we're practicing. What is... But I saw red, and I attacked that guy. Really bad. I mean, we ended up on the ground, right? Just the same as when I was younger with that schoolmate. Ended on the ground, and I was just pummeling that guy. And our master had to come and separate us, and I go, okay. Well, anyway, I wasn't allowed to spar with anyone after that. I wasn't allowed. Except for with the master. And when I think of on what's happening at the Olympics right now, and that's the reason I brought this up. I mean, boxing isn't it. Boxing, if you want to box as a woman, okay, fight like that as a woman, spar like that as a woman, then you're gonna have to really be good. You're gonna have to, you should be able to be as assertive, okay, strong as, okay, what is the world talking about right now? They're not, these other two, supposedly whatever, they're not huge or anything. Just saying. And if as a woman, and you're doing a sport like that, you're suddenly intimidated because it could be a guy. It could be, maybe it's not a woman. It could, man, what are you doing boxing? Just asking. Show them your fury. Show them your fury. Every time that when my fury against, okay, some injustice came out, nobody beat me. There wasn't anybody that could beat me. Do you know what I mean? Okay, just, so should you, no, I'm just taking this as an example on, gosh, you know, I mean, I got it. But I feel like the attention in all this is in the wrong place. We have to say, now here you are, you women. You want to do a sport, in my opinion, that's a man's sport. Is it? Why do you guys have to beat each other up? I mean, that's what you're doing. You're beating each other up. You're going home with broken noses, black eyes. Okay, your teeth, if you have that thing in, I guess, are... But otherwise, I mean, I'm just saying, broken ribs, I don't know what. You're expecting that. And you're willing to dish it out to someone else, too. Well, then do. I just can't see, okay, just from that standpoint, I have to say, it's a bit laughable and ridiculous to think that these trained women, these trained boxers who are women, now are making such a stink because they're actually fighting, what, real men? Or maybe not, something in between. Well, show them then how good you are, and don't hold back. And I would not hold back? Okay. Couldn't hold back? I got trouble every time. But this is them. They were allowed that. Well, then do. Don't hold back. Give them the best that you can. Give back as good as they dish out. I believe these women boxers can do it. I do believe that. And for some reason they're intimidated. Why? Not quite getting that part. Yeah, see? I know where most of the world, their view stands. And I get it. But I know where most people's views are when it comes to the Old Testament, all these wars, where God is on the side of the Israelites, and that is why that I get it. I disagree. I disagree with that as well. Men wanting to make a name for themselves. You're a bloodthirsty human being. Found a way to take care of that. Anyway, just saying. That's all I have to give today. I guess I could talk more, but... and again, this is... if any of these boxers were to watch me here talk, no, this is not to belittle you or whatever one could think of. No, this is supposed to encourage you. You're there. You worked for this. And now... Are these discrepancies are going to stop you? It shouldn't. It shouldn't. It shouldn't stop you. Yes? This would be a time to me where I'd say, Father, got a big job here on my hands now. So give me the strength that I need. In all fairness, it's a supervised fight. And win. And if that zeal is not there, then I guess someone else will get that gold medal. Just saying. Yes? Okay. Anywho, so that's all I have to say today. So I'm going to be praying for all of the boxer ladies and these other guys or ladies as well. And I'm going to pray that the best man may win. So did you hear how I said that? Yes, people can twist and turn this around every which way they want to. I know how I meant it. You're boxing, ladies. You're not making flower arrangements. You're boxing. And show what you're capable of, even against guys. All right? Yeah. So, there it is. That's all I have to say. Got to get ready for that boy to get here. We're going to put the pool out. It's sunny, it's hot, and we're going to be spending it in the water today. Yes. May Heavenly Father bless and protect you, embrace you with love, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow.